I've been playing video games my whole life.
Spaceport takes great pride in the special people we choose to run our stores all across America.
And you can be very proud to have been chosen as part of the team responsible for running your spaceport.
You know, at the time, it wasn't strange to, go over your friend's house and walk to 7-Eleven and play Donkey Kong, but now that you think about it, it's kind of weird.
What was it, like the barrels or something like that? Oh, that's great.
It was so totally different because it was a destination.
When the whole thing was happening, I was 10, 11, 12 years old.
My brothers would ask to go to the arcade as like 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds.
It felt like an eternity in the arcade because all the games only cost $0.25.
You know, Sears used to have an arcade, Kmart had an arcade.
When something came out, they had it.
Normally, some of the big hitters are Asteroids, Pac-Man, Space Invaders. Those were, part of some of the biggest games out there.
When I would run out of quarters, I would walk around and stick my hand in where the change would come out and push the buttons, and you'd be surprised how many quarters you could find.
Exactly. Check the coin slot, bang the coin door, and see if a coin would fall down. Look around if anybody dropped the quarter.
Now, a free game for 25 cents was like a huge deal in '82.
So I'm not the only person that did that.
You had that big surge in the early '80s. And then, what was it? 3/4 or more were gone within a 2-year period. As you know, arcades just went, that was it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe this town.
So I've been hanging out in bars and drinking for a while, so I thought Tapper would be a good place to start.
Before most people were collecting, I was collecting.
Let's see, I'm 33, so it was maybe 5 years ago.
It's been a huge importance for the last 10 years. Seeing an arcade that actually rivals a lot of the arcades that were around in the early '80s is a big deal.
It's just that little bit of your youth, holding on to what you used to do.
It's like once you get one, I don't want to compare video games to crack.
Every gamer will say, you buy one, then you want two. You have two, then you want 3 and 5 and 10 and 20. And the next thing you know, you have a mini arcade in your house.
I mean, I have more games here than Chuck E. Cheese does.
So what becomes one man's garbage is another man's treasure.
Right now I have about 40 down here. At one point I had 70, then I reduced it down.
I got the whole addiction there where you're getting self-storage units and you're putting games inside of them. And after a while, it just got ridiculous. I think I had at one point 65 games of my own.
I can't imagine what would happen to some of these machines if I didn't get it. Either just get converted or they get parted out and just end up in the junkyard or burned up behind the garage.
Usually the first year you go on a rampage, and if you're married, heaven help you on that first year because you end up going a little crazy.
I didn't even realize I had that much stuff until my wife and I signed the contract on the house, and I'm like, wait a minute, we got like 4 weeks to empty this place. And it's easy to convince your friends, hey, I'm making some burgers on the grill, come on over. I got to move this one game downstairs. You get two guys and you move a game downstairs, that's no problem. Then when you got to convince them that you got 30 of them to move in 2 weeks, your friends disappear really quick.
I think that when somebody comes into a house and they see 20 or 50 games, they think that you have like some kind of Pez dispenser that just spits out arcade games.
If we wrap them in plastic and just put them in like a climate-controlled vault, they might last, 80 years from now, you might be able to still play a Tron, but what's the fun in that? So unfortunately, I think eventually it's going to be gone.
It'll be sad when we get to a point where they're so rare that the only ones you can see in a museum, but at least they'll be there for the appreciation factor.
It's good that there are places like Videotopia, that do preserve them, and you've got now the Pinball Hall of Fame, but they're really meant to be played.
No two people are alike, and no two cabinets are alike in the arcade world. They all have their own personalities, their own appearance. It's a real good diversity.
Our generation are definitely the ones who are collecting them. I would think that my kids would definitely, at least keep a few of them. And keep it going that way.
Warriors needed to defeat alien robots.
I certainly don't believe that any of these games belong behind glass or shouldn't be getting played because they're playful in nature.